Hey everybody, you know who it is. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I want to jump right into it, but we're going to get to some announcements first. And I want to thank everyone. Over 5,000 people, 5,000 subs. Thank you, thank you. I'm very humbled and very flattered to be a part of your life. That you would think that I give whatever I talk about, that you feel it worthy to continue to listen. So please continue to listen. Hit that rate button. Give me a thumbs up, sub, and I appreciate it. Also, make sure that you are sharing the videos. I really would appreciate that. People tell me they share it with a couple of their nieces, nephews, cousins, brothers, whatever. I appreciate that. It's a humbling experience. All right, so let's jump into it before I bore everyone. So, dating apps. Stay off of the dating apps. Thank you. Much love and peace. Take care. Stay off the dating apps. Why should you stay off the dating apps? Well, there's a brother up here, right? I was kind of surfing around one day, and this came up, and he did a video about dating apps. The majority of his videos have been about working out. So he kind of ventured off into this new dating app territory. And, there's been a lot of studies that have been going on. People are looking into this. I should have went there. People have been looking into the whole dating app phenomenon. What it's doing to people's personalities, what it's doing to people's sense of self-esteem, their sense of self-worth, and, and all that. So, I'm not going to get all scientific on this, but, I have read a little bit about it. So first off is that it does, it's a waste of time, first and foremost. You should get out the dating apps because they're a waste of time. Now, there are more men on dating apps. I'll put up some numbers here. There are more men on dating apps. So the women are just inundated, right? The guys are, quote unquote thirsty, or whatever the term is now, right? I don't sound all old. But the guys are, they're really, anxious, desirous, thirsty, whatever, to get someone. So they just put all these different feelers out, right? The shotgun method approach. And so that is making the women more hypergamous, more selective, right? A guy who was, back in the days was guaranteed to get a woman, based on his height characteristics, his job, he was guaranteed to get a woman. Now that same guy, he's on a dating app, he doesn't get anything. Listen, I've always kind of done all right. But I spent some time in the dating apps. I was going weeks without a match. Weeks. I'm like, you gotta be. What's wrong with me, right? Then there's a whole phenomenon about when you do match, right? They're not talking back to you. I had a girl one time. Pretty girl. She listening. They get attention. They're pretty girl. I'm not the only one who thinks she's pretty. We matched. I'm like, whatever's whatever. I said. She's like, oh, fine, and you? That's what she said, doing good, okay. So I'm like, man, what's up with this? Right? Women have no game. Yeah, no game. Right? So she's like, fine, and you? And then, so I'm like, okay. So whatever I wrote. Then the next day she wrote back, I'm good, and you? So that just told me she wasn't really reading it. She was sifting through all this different stuff. Why is this so low? So she wasn't really reading it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I just unmatched with her. It just, between the ghosting, between the ladies being inundated with different messages, you gotta be, it was a learning experience as to being on there, because women would say, now I would be up there like, hey, how you doing, right? And I wouldn't get any kind of play. So I'm like, man, so I do research, me, I'm doing research, right? So I'm like, man, what's up with this, So they said, you gotta be charming, you gotta stand out, this, that, and the other, read her profile over, quote something from her profile. So I started doing that. And the ladies would say that, so I would get more responses when you did that type of thing. But then after a while, it's like, like they stop responding to that, because now everybody's on the game. Everybody's doing that kind of stuff, right? So you could spend all day. It's a time waster. You could spend all day reading profiles, trying to get the right words to do whatever. The amount of profiles that you have to read in order to get a match, You go through 100 profiles. You got to read them all, quote something to them, try to make them laugh, giggle, say something to stand out, and then she doesn't have to do any of that, and to get no dates from it, or she's talking to you and 5 other people. I think that one thing they should do to fix the matches, I think one thing they should do is you can only get, I would say, like four matches at a time. 4 matches at a time. You can't get anymore. You can't scroll anymore. You can't like any more people. You got to weed these people out. You got to either go on a date with them or whatever. That would solve a big problem. That would solve a lot of it if they would just put a cap on how many people you can like at a time. 4 or 5 at the most. 4 or 5 people. You got to talk to them. Is it going anywhere? Did it get on the date? And you can't match anyone else until you've given a reason that you've gone off with these people. I don't talk, you try to match with somebody else, but what happened to these other 5? Well, this guy, we weren't compatible. Okay, he's gone. This guy, went on a date with him and he's gone. Okay, he's gone. Now you can match with 1 other person, 2 other people, whatever. So I think that would stop a lot of this foolishness. So the women out there are inundated with just people. More men are on the dating apps. The women are having their pick of the litter, and it's just crap. 284. So they're just having their sweet old good old time. So it's a waste of time for a guy, right? You're spending money, and the guys spend money. So I was chatting with this girl one time. I don't think we ever got to the stage where we went out. I can't remember. And I was like, and literally, like, I had gone on there. I'm like, I'm done with the dating apps. So I was going to go up in here and delete my profile. So then I see I have a message. I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least talk to this one. So we start talking. She's like, oh, I just kind of saw you, I'm like, yeah, I was about to cancel my subscription. I was like, I'm not paying for this anymore. She's like, you got to pay? So the guys got to pay. The guys got to pay. The women don't have to pay. Different apps. I was on a couple of them. Right? And then, with Bumble, they just went from paying. What did Bumble do? Bumble went from you having to, the women made the first move. Now they don't have to make the first move anymore. Right? And so when they made the first move, I got a couple matches, one or 2 dates on Bumble. But the women, like, all they would say is hi. They had no game. They had no game. The women had no game. Hi. And I remember reading one post by I don't know where I read it at, Facebook or something. It's like women went through all this women empowerment, and all you get is a hi on Bumble. No game, right? So now they see how hard it is. They don't even want to do it anymore. They don't want to do it anymore, right? So it's too much work. It's awkward. Women making the first move. So much for female empowerment. So much for gender equality, right? Okay, so it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. You got to wade through this. It destroys your ego, right? Destroys your self-esteem. Like I said, I never really had a problem, right? I at a mall or whatever, wherever I was at, I never really had a problem. I was married for a long time, so I wasn't looking. But even when I did start looking, I just never had that problem. Never had that issue. So, but you get on there, guys don't stand a chance. You're an average guy, average income, and I tell this to women, like women would say, oh, it's easy, it's this, that, and the other, anybody could do it. You as a woman, it's easy. You could be an average looking woman, and you will have you set up your profile at 8 o'clock in the morning. You check your profile when you come home from work, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I guarantee you got well over 100 messages. Well over, and you think it's like that for men, and it's not. And they've done experiments like this. And the women, if you look at their faces when they've done these experiments, like, they could see them starting to get depressed. Like, man, this is crazy. Like, man, this is bad. This is what men go through. So you got to really, watch it with that, and it ties into your sense of self-worth, self-esteem, and it can cause you to be depressed. And there have been studies about this. Some say more than others, right? It'll cause you, as I talked about, you can spend all day scrolling, but it'll cause you to it'll cause you to really feel bad about yourself, right? Feel like you're somehow inadequate, and that's just not the case. It's not the case that you're inadequate. It's the case that the times have changed. The women are vastly more hypergamous, vastly more selective, and you got to be a top 10 person, right? And not to mention, right, the amount of persons who are not only flooding their inbox, but they're flooding it from all over, right? Right? You got guys from California and Virginia and all hitting up someone who lives in New York. And he's willing to fly you out. He's got money. Where am I going? Shoot, it's the wrong way. He's got, all this stuff, right? So the competition is just stiff and heavy. Not to mention the type of people that are on there. What are you looking for? Look, certain places people are just looking to hook up. I had to buy a new charger. I couldn't find my charger. So the people who are on there, the type of people who are on there just looking to hook up or whatever's whatever. So you really gotta do all that. So those are some of the cons. I give the cons first. So you really just got to be very, very selective. Let's talk about the weeding out process, right? So you got to have these conversations. I'm assuming that catfishing has gotten better, right? Some of the apps now, at least the last time I was on there, they had the chat feature, the video conference feature. So listen, that was it for me. First time we talk. Okay, let's we gotta have a face to face here. We gotta have a face to face, and it was funny, man. I had ladies didn't want to do it. Listen, I can't do it right now, and I'm driving to work. I'm like, well, just drive to work and just video conference me. People out there playing games. They're not serious. They say they want this, but they really don't want it. I don't have time. I just don't have time for that. So I think I told the story before. I got off because everybody was complaining about it. They said how much urine was in or pee was in the dating pool, and I think it was Kendra G. She said that. I'm like, you know what? Let me get out of here, man, because I'm not gonna keep swimming in the pool where people are saying there's pee in it. So she said there's pee in the pool. The dating market is this way because you're in it. That was it for me. I'm not gonna deal with that. So, I have to charge my phone here. So, these are all things you got to kind of look out for, watch out for, and all that. So, those are some of the cons as far as time wasted, money wasted. There's I don't know if it's been validated, but they say that that they're doing the rubrics is the wrong word, but the data analysis, right, to try to keep the type of woman that you like away from you. So it keeps you scrolling, keeps you there, keeps you paying, keeps them away from you, right? And then maybe they'll give you a hint. Here's one. So you really gotta just be very, very selective. Just very thoughtful in what you're doing and make sure you're doing everything for the right reasons and all that. So what else? Pros. Are there any pros to it? Some people do meet. I can't think of much. I can't think of a lot. Some people do meet. Somebody was in the comment section wanting me to do this video to talk about the pros and cons of it. I can't really think of a lot. This is not going to be a long video. You got to do your research and figure out what it is that you want. Weigh the pros and cons, and if there's anything that I missed. But besides time wasters, money wasters, low self-esteem, your confidence is being lost. It's just a money pit, and then people come back to it. It's almost addicting, right? I mean, we all know that these phones are addicting. They're giving us the dopamine hits. I'm assuming it's the same thing with the apps, right? Who liked me today? Who's liking me? Who's validating me now? And who's looking at my pictures? Who's liking my profiles? I think that a lot of ladies are really just going for that. Just that is enough. Somebody told me I look beautiful today. So Facebook. Somebody told me I'm gorgeous today. Somebody liked my picture. Somebody told me that I'm great. Somebody validated me. So, and then they reject all these different dudes, right? I don't know the percentages. Something like guys think like I'm just kind of spitballing here. 60% of the pictures that come across, something like that, and the ladies, between 5 and 10%. It might even be less than that, 3 to 5. I'm not sure. So you really, what kind of odds are those, man? Guys, again, are doing a shotgun method. They're putting it out there. These women are so selective, right? If you're not this and that, working here, right? What's that song, 6'5", Blue Eyes with Finance? Okay. Okay. All right. You want that guy, you want that 6'5" guy that everybody wants, guy in finance. You want him to settle down and get married? So the pros could be that you could find someone. It would help you to filter out some of the things you don't want. Again, I think that ties into the negative of you being too hyper selective, but it can help you to get the things that you're looking for. Height, money, making sure he's on his game. Get to see a little bit about him, the pictures and stuff. So, some of the stuff, man, that would be up there, man. Comical pictures, like this picture looked like it was taken in 1973. Like the picture's all blurry and stuff. How do you have a blurry picture in 2023, 2024, 2025? How do you have a blur? How does that even still exist, a blurry picture? You look at the picture that you took, you delete it, and you take another one. How do you have a blur? And this is the picture you chose to upload? That ought to be talking about a red flag. This is the picture you chose to upload? You got to ask, when was this? I always ask that question too. When was this picture taken? If it wasn't taken in the last 6 months, delete. Even 6 months might even be too. At least 6 months. So you can kind of sort through, the religious practices, whether they're into polygamy, polyamory, whatever they're into, right? So you can filter all that out, music and all that kind of stuff. I think those are probably some of the pros. But overall, I think that men ought to just get off of it entirely. And the message is not out. And I just looked this up a little while ago, right? So men are still kind of the primary members on there, right? So if you're a lady on there, man, and ladies get overwhelmed, right? Some of the studies are talking about how the ladies are overwhelmed, right? How can you effectively, as I gave, you go to work you set your profile at 8 o'clock at night. Let's just say you go to work in the morning, you come home 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. You start checking your profiles after work, and you got I guarantee you got 100, 150 messages. And not to be conservative, how do you sort through those guys? And after a while, it just becomes superficial. Okay, I'm just going to sort through everybody who's under 6 feet, right? All the 5'11", all the 5'11" guys are gone and under. Okay, all the guys who make less than $150,000. But that says nothing to the guy's character. So it says nothing to whether he's a liar or not. It says nothing about that. So there are good things that can come of it. So you just got to kind of weed through it, sift through it, get through it, try to figure it out, do the best you can. And if you have met someone, tell us about your experiences, and what was it like, and how did you really kind of sift through this jungle of information that you had to get through. I guarantee it's not easy. And I went to a couple of dates. Some I actually still call up today. We're still kind of cool. Some nice people. A couple of people I met. I told you about. They really wanted to kind of exchange rings and all that. So you can meet some nice people. You can meet some nice people. And I think that the whole coming back to a thing is interesting. I'm not going back, I'm deleting it. 6 months later, they're back on there. 3 months later, they're back on there. That's interesting. That's a phenomenon that probably needs a little bit more study, but it's a dopamine hit, so they missed the validation. They missed that. So those are just some of my thoughts about it. Listen, I suggest that people don't try it. If you're a woman, I suggest that men don't do it. But if you're a woman, why? I mean, you're gonna have your pick of the litter. I don't think you're gonna meet quality guys. I don't think that. I think your chances of meeting quality guys is diminished because you got to sort through them. And if you're going to be hyper selective about superficial, about how much they make, or you don't like their clothes, the balloon pop phenomenon. I deleted this guy or popped my balloon because of his clothes. Listen, back in the days, a woman would see a man, think he had no style. I'm like, listen, I can work with this guy. I'm gonna take him to get a haircut. Make sure he gets his teeth fixed. I think you should make the guy pay for that, get his teeth fixed, right? Get his teeth fixed. Give him some style. That's completely, you want to meet the guy completely at the finish line. I didn't help this man in anything. All right. Versus I guess some women are on the vastly other side. They want a complete project, right? They'll take a man straight out of prison. Yeah, it's crazy. Right? Speaking of prison, right? So they're dating these women in prison. Women are dating men in prison, getting married to these men in prison. They meet them on these J dates or whatever, whatever. And emailing, and I know ladies are doing it. It can't be that bad out here. You're talking about, and people. It's funny because in the comment section, people are like, oh, Big Al, what kind of ladies you dating? I'm dating all master's degrees. The lowest I had was a bachelor's. Everybody else have master's degrees, so they're nice ladies, and it still happens. So you're still meeting this. So the ladies around here dating pookies who are in prison. I can't wait for my husband to get home. I can't wait for him to get out. I don't know what's going on. I want to know what's going on like I hear Marvin. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. So you tell me. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions, right, about what's going on. The balloon pop shows, dating people in prison, the ghosting, the ignored text, the leaving people unread. And yes, those are where I met people. Those are where I met people who would stop talking to you once you told them I had the degree. I mean, that was literally the last thing. Oh, yeah. What do you do for a living? This, that, and the other. Oh, man, that must be smart. You have you have a degree? Yeah, I got a doctorate. That was the last message. I don't want to make this about me. Because then it just comes off as something's wrong with me or something wrong with you. But I can deal with that projection, but it's just not worth it. This is a phenomenon that's going on that everybody's complaining about. Low feelings of low self-esteem and all that kind of stuff. Right? So, but to you who have met somebody online, tell us about your experiences. Congratulations to you. I believe that one of the woman who put this on here is talking about getting married. Just do your vetting. Watch my vetting video. You still got to vet. I mean, these people with verified profiles and all. You still have to vet. You still got to do that. Oh, and you can still run a brother by me university. You can still do that. So run a brother by me university. So listen, it is what it is, man. I mean, it's crazy out here. All right, I don't really have much more to add to this, so I don't want to rant. So much love and peace, everyone. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me in the comments.